How do you say that EVMs are hacked? LK Advani, then the BJP leader. Today, I want to settle this argument in a way.
Views expressed in this blog are hosted on my own website, are strictly personal and do not reflect the views of any organization.
Namaskar. Hello and welcome to Straight Bat, my weekly video blog where, as the title suggests, I comment with a straight bat. Now, in the aftermath of the tsunami that has hit Maharashtra and the manner in which the Mahayuti of the ruling BJP has won the election and the Congress, Shiv Sena, UBT, NCP, Sharad Pawar alliance has been demolished, there are lots of questions that are being raised. I'm in Mumbai at the moment and lots of people are now raising EVM conspiracy theories to explain the massive mandate that the ruling alliance has got. Is there an EVM conspiracy or not? Are the electronic voting machines being manipulated or not? Or is the opposition trying to make excuses for its big election defeat? Today, I want to settle this argument in a way once and for all. Now remember, lots of people on social media and YouTube have fed on this EVM argument, often without providing hard data or prima facie evidence. Let me say this at the outset. More often than not, blaming EVMs is what I call the loser's lament in this country. It's interesting that in 2009, LK Advani, then the BJP leader, wrote a foreword to a book which had been penned by psephologist and later BJP MP GVL Narasimha Rao, titled Democracy at Risk. Can we trust our electronic voting machines? Remember, the BJP had lost the 2009 Lok Sabha elections badly and suddenly the BJP was blaming EVMs. 15 years later, the shoe is on the other foot. Now, whether it's in Haryana or Maharashtra, the instinctive reaction of the Congress to explain their losses, EVM ko zimmedar lakho, rather than accepting that they scored self-goals, perhaps didn't run the kind of campaign that they should have, perhaps got complacent, or infighting damaged their chances. So I think the fact is that all these opposition parties first need to come up with harder evidence before instinctively blaming EVMs when they lose, just as the BJP 15 years ago also should have come up with hard arguments instead of instinctively blaming EVMs. Now, one of the reasons, let's go one by one through all the arguments that are being given, particularly by the opposition when they claim EVM conspiracy. Number one, they say EVMs are blamed because the opposition lost an election in Maharashtra which they won conclusively 5 months ago during Lok Sabha. Then they won 30 out of 48 seats and the BJP-led alliance won only 17. They are saying, how could things change so dramatically in Vidhan Sabha? Well, my friends, it is possible that you may get a dramatic change. It's happened before. Just look at Delhi in 2015 and 20. Both in the 2014 and 2019 Lok Sabha, the BJP won big. But less than a year later, Arvind Kejriwal swept the polls in 2015 and 20. Did we say at the time that the EVMs were rigged because suddenly the vote share had gone up of Mr. Kejriwal? A Lok Sabha election, my friends, is very different to Vidhan Sabha. Anyone who went on the ground in Maharashtra could see the Ladki Bahin factor operating. Now you could argue, can it explain such a dramatic double-digit increase in vote share and the kind of 3/4 majority? Fair point. But the truth of the matter is, anyone who seriously looked at the ground could see that the Mahayuti was ahead courtesy the Ladki Bahin scheme. Don't forget, even in Lok Sabha, in terms of vote share, both sides were just a decimal point away from each other. They had even vote share, but the Mahavikas Aghadi, the opposition, benefited hugely in terms of seats. Point number two, EVM conspiracies are being suggested because there was a surge in voting post 5 p.m. That the numbers the EC gave at 11:30 p.m. on the 20th and then again a day later suggested a huge rise in voting percentage post 5 p.m. In fact, at 5 p.m. on voting day, polling percentage was 58. The final voting percentage was over 66. So an 8% rise. Now you have to only go back in data. In 2019 also, my friends, post 5 p.m. the increase was around 7%. So it's not as if this was some unusual surge. And don't forget, in Maharashtra, polling ended at 6 p.m. So therefore, if you even do an average of per hour voting turnout, there is nothing to suggest that there was some dramatic rise which is unexplained or inexplicable or thereby suggests a conspiracy. Yes, the EC should have been more clear in giving us constituency-wise polling at every hour possibly, even after 6 p.m. in real time. That might have perhaps assuaged some of the fears that were being expressed. Number 3, you have a lot of videos coming out from YouTubers and on social media in particular saying some candidates are complaining they got 0 votes in certain booths and that there was a mismatch between the votes they got and what was actually shown on the EVMs. Again, when fact checking has been done, most of these claims are found to be untrue. You can in anger say that you have got less votes in a booth that you expected to get more votes in. But eventually, when I look at the numbers, it's not as if there is any indication that someone has created a mismatch between votes polled and votes counted. If they have, please file official complaints and ensure that justice is done. Number 4, the conspiracy theorists suggest that EVMs are being replaced by government agents. Now again, if anyone has evidence of a strong room that has been broken into, that EVMs have been replaced in some way, please do share that video. Because remember, there are those who are guarding the strong rooms across parties. Are we saying someone entered when they didn't know and broke into the strong room and changed the EVMs? Is there any evidence of that, my friends? Number 5, and this is linked to the point of EVMs being replaced, we are told by the conspiracy theorists that EVMs are being hacked. Again, my friends, that argument defies common sense. EVMs are not computer controlled. They are standalone machines in this country and not connected to the internet or any other network at any point of time. When I asked the opposition leaders, how do you say that EVMs are hacked? They said Elon Musk says so. Arey mere dost, just because Elon Musk says so in America doesn't mean that EVMs are hacked in this country. In this country, there is no evidence that EVMs, which are standalone machines, can be hacked because they are not connected in that sense to any specific Wi-Fi system. They are standalone machines. Number 6, and this is the most important point I wish to make today. My friends, the real issue is not what happens on counting day in this country. It is what happens before counting day. That is where I have a huge question mark over whether we have free and fair elections in this country. And let me flag off certain critical issues that need to be answered now. Most importantly, money power. Ask any politician privately in Maharashtra the amount of money that has gone into this election. Forget about the election expenditures, they've gone way above that. Money power is distorting our elections, ensuring that there is no level playing field. And I asked the Election Commission of India, what have you done in all these years to stop the abuse of money power in various forms? That's where the question must be asked at the very first instance. Number 2, a question must be asked on the way voter lists are being prepared, the manner in which names are being struck off or added. Don't forget, in the Lok Sabha election, Nitin Gadkari, who was the BJP Union Minister, Nagpur candidate, went on record and told me in an interview that he felt that names in certain constituencies where he was strong were being deleted. Now imagine if that's happening to Mr. Gadkari in Nagpur, what could happen in other parts? So voter lists and the manner in which voter lists are allegedly seeing names being added or deleted is a matter of great concern. Number 3, we saw voter suppression, as some are calling it. Recently in Uttar Pradesh, the manner in which the police were caught on camera, seemingly stopping people from going out to vote in certain minority areas, is again a question that needs to be asked. Is there voter suppression? Is there a manner in which the district administration is controlling who can vote and who cannot? Is again a question that is justifiably to be asked. Number 4, and this is again serious, access to specific booth-wise voting patterns over the years being made available to the ruling party through various data that is being collected either by private agencies or by state agencies, that allows the party then to mine the data and target specific voters. Is that access only being given to one side because they can use the government system there to their advantage, possibly through Aadhaar and other data that is available to them? All of this brings me to my final point, and it's an important one, my friends. There is, to be honest, a loss of confidence and credibility in the Election Commission. There is a lack of trust in whether the Election Commission in this country is truly a neutral umpire. And this stems partly from a lack of transparency and from the fact that the Election Commission of India has not come out with any confidence to answer the various questions. For example, the Association of Democratic Reforms put out a petition in the Supreme Court where they showed that there was a mismatch in as many as 537 of the 543 constituencies between votes polled and votes counted. That this mismatch may not have run into very large numbers and may not have influenced the final verdict, but still needs to be explained. Why is there a mismatch between votes polled and votes counted? It needs to be explained that, for example, when the first round during the Lok Sabha took place of voting, why was it that the final numbers that were made available to the public came more than a week later? If this was all real-time data being gathered, surely that data could have been made available, including the final voting, not just percentage terms, the actual votes being counted per constituency should be made available in real time, whether in the Lok Sabha or whether in Maharashtra, constantly by the Election Commission. Why can't the Election Commission of this country have regular briefings or meet the parties before and after the polls to answer all their queries in a transparent manner? In conclusion, I want to say this. The only way, my friends, to end all these controversies that are boiling over election voting machines is let us now have 100% verified audit paper trail, the VVPAT. So when you put your election voting machine, you also get your VVPAT possibly in a separate ballot box, and then decide to have 100% counting of that, especially in close contests. That a candidate should have a right to ensure that he can have 100% VVPAT, not just 5% as is the case at the moment. This may take more time, but remember there was an age when counting in this country took 2 or 3 days. Let it be a test match instead of a T20 counting. But that is the only way all these conspiracy theories can be silenced, all the doubters can be silenced, and the confidence and credibility in our electoral process can be restored. As I said at the outset, I am not an EVM skeptic. I believe that EVMs should ideally be a step forward over the old ballot box process. But when the electoral process itself comes under questioning, then it's best to settle all doubts and do it with EVM and 100% VVPAT counting in the next election. That's what the Election Commission of India should be open to doing, and that's what the Supreme Court, if necessary, should mandate them to do. That's the only way these conspiracy theorists will be eventually, somehow or the other, these speculations will end. Think about it. That was, as always, the Straight Bat. Do, of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel for many more such videos. For now, stay well, stay safe. Jai Hind, Namaskar.